In this video, I'll uncover the 8 worst breakfast foods and healthy alternatives for nutrition and weight loss. When you start your day off with things like a bagel, a huge carb load, essentially it leaves you with cravings all day. You don't want to be starting your day off with inflammatory foods that are causing hormone dysregulation, your brain not to work well. What was found in studies that if you eat a high carb breakfast, high sugar breakfast, you basically consumed way more calories throughout the entire day. We went through the era where pretty much everybody was trying to stay away from fat. Now we're back to an era where people are adding fats back in. Now, I can't think of a better way to set yourself up for failure than starting your day off with a high sugar, high carb breakfast that is not only going to leave you with cravings throughout the day, but also leave you with energy crashes. And that's why in this video, we're going to talk about the 8 worst breakfast foods and healthy alternatives for nutrition and weight loss. So many people are starting their day off like this, and they have no idea how big of an impact it has on them, the way that they feel, their cognitive function, everything. So that's why we're going to give you a lot of thought-provoking breakfast ideas in this video, so stick around to the end. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Zarowski and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and join our notification community. That way it can help you excel your health and your life. I also want to mention that our December meal plan is up. Our meal plan is basically a system where we take my food plan for the month and we share it with you. This is going to have a lot of incredible recipes in it. It's all based on low carb. And the other thing is it supports the channel. So it makes this channel possible. Now, when we look at the month of December, we're gonna have lots of great holiday recipe ideas. So you don't wanna miss it. Click the link below in order to be part of that. Now let's go ahead and start off with one of our first worst breakfast foods. And this is one that you're gonna find in pretty much most fast food restaurants, most coffee places, everywhere you go. And that's bagels and toast, okay? And we start our day off with bagel and toast. This is a great way to set us up for failure. Because you know what? What the research shows us is that when you start your day off with things like a bagel, a huge carb load, essentially it leaves you with cravings all day. And I'll get to more of what it does to your body and to your mental capacity, your energy levels in just a moment. So when we look at bagels and toast, enriched flour, okay, so this is in a flour where they took like a bleached white flour and then they enriched it because after they stripped the nutrients out, they tried to put some back in. And a bunch of studies show that it really doesn't work. Even though they, put all this enriched, these vitamins within this flour, it really doesn't make you any more healthier. When they compared people who got sick versus didn't get sick, when they used enriched flour versus not using enriched flour, it didn't seem to make any difference using the enriched flour. So next here is we're gonna find is high in carbohydrates, high calorie. Okay, so this is a high calorie breakfast. You're trying to lose weight, but yet you're stopping by and grabbing a coffee and a bagel. Not gonna work out too well. And then of course, nutritionally deficient. I mean, how many nutrients are you getting in a bleached white flour bagel? And the answer is not very many. So what we want to do is we want to start our day off with a highly nutritious meal. Let's talk about an alternative. Now, an alternative, the better choice, is going to be a smoothie. Now, think of this. You start your day off with some berries, lots of green leafy vegetables, and as a result, you're getting lots of phytonutrients, a lot of micronutrients, lots of antioxidants, and once again, nutrient dense. It's going to give you energy for hours to come. So if you're going to start your day off with a breakfast, make sure you're doing it in a healthy way. A nice green smoothie is a great way to go. Now let's talk about cereal. When we look at cereal, I mean, this is something many people start their day off with. You go to the grocery store and there's just aisles lined with hundreds of different types of cereal on these beautiful bright colored boxes, and they say things like heart healthy and fiber enriched and all this stuff. I mean, this is just all a big marketing ploy, but at the end of the day, the cereal is terrible for you. Most of the cereal is high in sugar, it's highly processed, it's artificially fortified, like we just talked about with the bagel. They're just basically just putting some nutrients in it because there was nothing there to start with. And then of course, lots of artificial ingredients. I mean, when you look at the cereal label, how many of those ingredients can you not actually pronounce or can you not even understand? So lots of artificial ingredients, dyes, you name it. And then when you eat this high sugar meal, what it's gonna do is activate the parasympathetics, okay? This is a part of your nervous system that basically just kind of shuts your body down in a way so that you can rest and digest. And so when you take these high sugar meals first thing in the morning, what does it do? You have your meal and all of a sudden you're tired, you're crashing, you're going through energy withdrawals. And then of course, what you do is you pour on some coffee to kind of just boost things back up a little bit. But if we actually just have a good healthy breakfast, or in fact, make a better choice and have no breakfast at all and do intermittent fasting, this is a great way to start your morning. Now, when we look at intermittent fasting, right, because you're not having that breakfast, you're not having anything at all, essentially you're able to have energy throughout the entire morning. Now, like I said, that big breakfast, even if it's a good, healthy breakfast, if you have a really big breakfast, it'll activate your parasympathetics. So we want to make sure that when we're really looking to boost our energy levels, we go and do something like intermittent fasting, because that way we skip breakfast and we just have energy all morning. And it's that simple. Fast for 16 hours, basically skip breakfast, go right into lunch, and that way you have energy all morning. Try intermittent fasting instead of breakfast if this is something you've never done before. It's very easy to do. It has an enormous amount of health benefits. And I'll put a link in the description below to a video where I actually teach on this. Now let's go ahead and talk about waffles and pancakes, another big staple breakfast food that so many people have daily. What are we going to find in these waffles and pancakes? And by the way, this is very reminiscent of my childhood. We used to eat all these types of foods every single morning for breakfast. And now it's like when I look at my own kids, I go, no, they can't go to school with this kind of food. Like, this is terrible. And so back then, people didn't really know any better. And the truth is, a lot of people still don't know any better today. That's why, this video, none of it is here to judge you, but actually give you good, thought-provoking ideas as to how you can improve your health. Now, waffles and pancakes, bleached white flour topped with a corn syrup, right? Because the thing is that when we look at a lot of these maple syrups out there, they're not maple syrup at all. It's actually just corn syrup that has a maple flavor. So you put some corn syrup on there, which is actually even worse for you than the maple syrup, high glycemic, and linked to diabetes. If you're eating this kind of stuff, that is highly, highly linked to diabetes. Now, the other thing is that, of course, maple syrup is not a great way to start your day off either, but on the same hand, it's gonna be better than the corn syrup. Let's go ahead and talk about some better options here. The better choice, chaffles. Okay, now if you haven't heard of chaffles, this is basically this huge buzz within the keto community. And basically what you do is you take some eggs and you scramble them up into a bowl and you put some cheese in as well. Now, a lot of people are getting fancy with some bacon and sausage, some of that kind of stuff as well. And then you put it into a waffle iron and cook it, okay? Then after that, you go ahead and eat it, and they're really delicious. As a matter of fact, I like to make these and then put a salsa on top of it, and it's really, really good. If you follow our monthly meal plan, you'll see that we're including these into your monthly meal plan, which are really, really good. The other option here is almond flour waffles and pancakes. Now, when we look at like waffles and pancakes, right, we can make a better option there, right? Now, a better choice might be something like chaffles, but we also can make some better choices in the way of just using better ingredients, right? We can make almond flour pancakes. We can make almond flour waffles. We can use coconut flour. We can use better flours instead of course, enriched or bleached white flour. Let's go ahead and talk about the next topic, and that's muffins. Now, a lot of people, once again, start their day off with muffins. Go to these coffee shops, fast food places where you can grab breakfast. Muffins are right on the top of the list. High in sugar, contain these highly inflammatory hydrogenated oils, which are not good for you, lots of refined flour, and then of course, most of the breakfast muffins are gonna have other things in it, like many things that are perceived to be healthy, maybe like some dried fruit, okay? Also, they're gonna have things like chocolate chips in them. And then in many cases, they're gonna be topped with sugar. When I was looking at different images for breakfast muffins, most of them actually had sugar sprinkled on top. They had powdered sugar sprinkled on top. So very, very staple when it comes to muffins here. And then, as I mentioned, with the hydrogenated oils, and you put some sugar with that, highly, highly inflammatory. You don't want to be starting your day off with inflammatory foods that are causing hormone dysregulation, your brain not to work well. That is not a good way to start your day. Let's talk about a better choice. A better choice would be something like cloud bread French toast. Now, if you're not familiar with cloud bread, that's once again something very popular within the keto community. It's taking some eggs, making this specific type of bread, you cook that up, and then of course make some French toast with it, dip it in eggs with some cinnamon and everything. Really, really good. And so cloud bread French toast is a great option. I'll put a link below to how you would go about making cloud bread if you're not familiar with it. Once again, something very popular in the keto community and a very good thought-provoking breakfast idea, because of course you can take this and spin it off into many other things as well. The next thing is donuts. And oh my gosh, growing up, I mean, donuts were a very staple thing that I saw people eat and still see people eat today. Actually, my clinic is right next to a bakery and they make fresh donuts. And of course, people are grabbing them every single morning. And when you look at a donut, I mean, it's really terrible. You're gonna get bleached white flour, lots of corn syrup, lots of artificial everything. I mean, there's really not much in that is beneficial in any way. Extremely high in sugar. And when I say like, there's not much, maybe they're using a fruit filling, like a real fruit filling that has some different micronutrients in it that could be beneficial. Extremely high in sugar, and of course leaves you hungry for more. Here's the thing, when we look at donuts or any of these high sugar foods, right? We already determined activates parasympathetics. We also are going to determine here that it's going to leave you hungry for more. Because what was found in studies that if you eat a high carb breakfast, high sugar breakfast, you basically consumed way more calories throughout the entire day. Really crazy, but however you start your day off with breakfast or your first meal of the day is how you will continue your day. And it just pushes those cravings, and then of course you eat more calories, gain more weight, and then you're more unhappy. So we want to make sure that we're making better options, and an omelet is a really great option. A good quality omelet, put some avocado on it, put some really good quality vegetables on it. Great way to start your day. Now there's a lot of studies out there that look at the egg as a perfect food. It's got a good balanced amino acid profile, lots of good healthy fats in it, low amount of carbohydrates, lots of good nutrients. So starting your day off with an egg is powerful. And the other reason that eggs are good in the morning is because there's studies that show if you eat eggs for breakfast, that you eat less calories throughout the entire day because you're getting a good, satiating, balanced meal. Only 77 calories per egg, really good way to start your breakfast. Once again, I'm trying to give lots of thought-provoking ideas. Like I said, most of the different blogs and things you find out there, it's like breakfast and it's just egg, 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 egg. So we want to have different ideas so that you don't get sick of eating the same thing all the time. Now, breakfast bars is another major thing that people get caught up in because this is considered to be healthy, right? I know so many people eating breakfast bars as a way to just, grab breakfast on the go and then, make sure they're choosing the better option, but it's not so much the better option. First of all, when we look at these things, they are loaded with sugar, and usually not just one type of sugar, but multiple types of sugar. High in grains, also a lot of artificial ingredients. Most of them are comparable to candy bars. When we look at sugar content versus sugar content, I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that, okay, well, this has maybe some little more nutrients in it, that kind of thing. But when we look at sugar to sugar, most of them are very comparable to a candy bar. It is considered a healthy alternative, but in fact, it is not. Let's look at a better choice here. So a better choice is going to be, if you're looking for something on the go, is going to be something like coffee or teas with collagen and MCT. This is how I break my fast every single day. I do it with coffee and MCTs. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know that because I talk about it a lot. There's a huge amount of benefit to it. So if you're not a coffee person and you're using tea, you put that collagen in there, you're getting some really great proteins, which are good for your musculoskeletal health. And then if you put that MCT in there, you're getting that great fat, which has a lot of benefit for brain function, energy, physical performance, the whole deal. So this is a better option versus going and eating a breakfast bar in the morning. Now let's go ahead and talk about the next thing, and that's flavored yogurt. This is a trap that many people get caught up in. I mean, I can remember growing up always having some sort of flavored yogurt, and let me tell you, it was really good, but not necessarily good for you. Now, many people are going to choose the non-fat option. Okay, so they get the yogurt, they're trying to be consciously healthy, and they want to make sure that they're making better choices, so they get the non-fat, which is terrible because it's going to raise your blood sugar more. You're not going to get the benefits that those fats have to offer. So they grab the non-fat, they grab the sugar stuff, the flavored stuff, and usually the sugar content is super high in these. And then of course, they're getting the low quality dairy, right? We also want to make sure that we're getting a better option with all of this. Let's talk about a better option. Choosing full fat yogurt is going to be the first better choice, right? We went through the era where pretty much everybody was trying to stay away from fat. Now we're back to an era where people are adding fats back in. So we want to get full fat yogurt because it's very beneficial for our brain, for our entire body. We want to put things like berries in it. If you want it sweetened, just put some berries in it. It's that simple. Maybe you can sprinkle some monk fruit, stevia on it, something like that. But there's no reason to go get something that's loaded with sugar. So full fat, put some berries in it, lots of micronutrients, a lot of antioxidants here, and then choose grass-fed whenever possible or organic, okay? We just want to make sure that we're staying away from these big factory farms and using more sustainably raised resources here. So, utilize dairy from sustainably raised cows and sustainably treated cows as well. Grass-fed's a great way to go. Let's talk about fruit juice. Okay, I know this isn't a food, but this is a big mistake people are making in the morning. So I felt like I'd be doing an injustice to you if I didn't talk about it. So when we look at fruit juice, it has no fiber, extremely high in sugar, small amounts of vitamins, linked to diabetes and obesity, okay? Now, when we talk about fruit juice, it's very similar to these really terrible sugary drinks that people are drinking today. For example, Coca-Cola. A glass of Coca-Cola, 140 calories, 10 grams of sugar, apple juice, 165 calories, 39 grams of sugar. Yes, it's coming from apples. Yes, it's a better source, but the thing is, it's still a huge amount of sugar that you don't want to be starting your day off with. It's no way to start your day, and it's not good for kids either. It's rotting their teeth out. It's making their brains not function well. It's causing them to crash, and it also is linked to problems like diabetes and obesity. We don't want that not only for our children, but for ourselves. Now, let's talk about a better alternative. In the morning, it's best to just start your day off with water, okay? You've been fasting all night because you've been in bed. You haven't drank anything in 8 hours or so. You want to make sure that you're getting lots of water in the morning. Make sure you're rehydrating yourself properly. It's incredibly important. If you want something sweet in the morning, go ahead and eat berries. This is going to be something that's going to be loaded with antioxidants, lots of micronutrients like we talked about through this entire video, and it's going to be a better option. If we're hydrated properly throughout the entire day, we tend to eat fewer calories, and we're going to feel so much better. We're going to have better cognitive function, more energy. We're going to just see our weight fall off if we're making better breakfast choices, the whole deal. Give this video a thumbs up and put in the comment section what you have for breakfast, or if you have breakfast at all. And then lastly, check out this video over here. I mentioned the ketogenic diet multiple times throughout this video. This video is going to teach you everything that you need to know about the ketogenic diet. If you are someone who is in the state of ketosis, you will promote burning fat off your body.